Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. Well, I have the stars of a show I've talked a lot about, Marrying Millions. I'm excited to have you because you guys are clearly the most normal couple of the bunch. And I want to talk about some of the other ones as well as you guys. But I have Sean and Megan. They were the cute couple, if you watched it, that had a baby. So there was a real relationship. They created a human and they were planning on getting married. And you were the rich person, Sean. You were not that you were super rich. You came from a very nice home. Your mom was a teacher. Your dad was a firefighter. Just normal.
Right.
And I thought it was kind of a juicy story about you is that while you were at UCLA, you applied for an executive assistant job for Sean.
Mm-hmm. I did. He had this description that was kind of like, I work in entertainment and I'm looking for an assistant, and it sounded really appealing.
On sugardaddy.com or
no, we're
Craigslist?
Not. That's the wrong couple. That's Rosie and Drew.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll get into them. Just kidding. I know that you weren't the sugardaddy.com. But where did you see that? Where did you find a posting like that?
I think it was on like Indeed or one of those
okay, like a
job
solid
websites.
legit.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so
it
you
was
go
also
to
a foundation. It
Oh,
was
what?
for the foundation position for the
Yeah,
charity.
it was.
Yeah.
Oh, for the charity. Okay. So do you get pretty cute for the interview?
I mean, it was like 5 years ago, but I'm sure I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was it instant attraction when you walked into the room?
Well, he wasn't there when I
Okay.
got to the meeting, so I didn't see him in person.
Oh.
And that's when he like found me on Facebook and then started,
After
messaging me.
so you got the job.
I didn't get the job. I was late
wanted
to the
to give her
meeting.
the job.
Oh, well, that's not very impressive.
Or no, he was late to the meeting. I'm sorry.
No,
No, he was late to the meeting.
She was perfectly on time.
Okay.
Okay, I was just 15 minutes late.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it
And
was him, not
she
me.
left because she had a test, and I'm like, you wouldn't wait for me 15 minutes, and she just like, I gotta go. I'm going to school. She had straight A's at UCLA. She wasn't she didn't mess around with school.
Right.
So it was like, and I think she said eventually she was a little nervous. I don't know what happened.
This sounds like the
Yeah.
opening scene of 50 Shades of Grey.
I've
Remember
heard
when
that
she
before.
went, where she had to go for the meeting, and it was like weird, and her friend was sick, so it was kind of like she wasn't supposed to do it. Okay, so then when do you guys then meet?
We met maybe a year after that.
So you didn't work for him then?
I didn't, not right after that,
okay.
no.
So then so a year later, he is stalking you on Facebook, even though you guys had never met in person.
Yeah. Well, actually, the day after we were supposed to meet, he started stalking me. So it was kind of like a year-long chase.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
She made it very difficult to
Really?
get her on a little coffee lunch. I mean,
And why were you so not into it? Because you were still dating, like you're still in the college world, and this seemed like a too mature of a relationship. But you're not that much older. But when you're young, like 20,
she was like, I think,
1 or
8.
2, anything like older than 25 seems so much older.
I know, it does.
Yeah,
'cause
it
you
seems like, oh my
normally-
God, you have a home, and like you're
Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
on a skateboard. So it does feel like a different world at that time, even though it's really not that many years. What are you guys, just like 10?
Like 13.
Yeah, I mean, that's not that big of a deal, but when it's like such a grown-up person. Okay, so go on, give it to me.
Yeah, so I normally would date guys that are like a year older at max. So
Yeah.
he was kind of this Christian Grey type. Yeah, I like to compare him to.
You
Yeah.
saying
50
50
Shades,
yeah. Everyone says
But
that.
he was,
Yeah.
he was
50
this,
Shades of Grey.
yeah.
That's funny.
He was mysterious. He had like all these photos on Facebook with, actresses and fancy cars, and it was appealing, but I was kind of intimidated. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so when did you then you agree to the date? Why? Because you were hungry.
Well, I don't know. It was,
so I was working, I did a couple events with His Holiness the Dalai Lama.
Uh-huh.
And the first event, I hired her PR firm. I didn't know she was working for this PR firm. And she texted me, and she's all like, do you know, are you doing this just because I work here? And I'm like, I swear to God, no. Like, it was just a coincidence.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then the PR firm's like, oh, we're working this really big event. Vogue said it was the Oscar Party of the Year. It was like, we didn't try to do any of that stuff, but it was just happened, and trying to give back to the city of LA. And Megan was a part of this company, and it was just destiny. I think it just tried to bring us full
Right.
circle, and then still didn't meet her. She said to the PR firm, I can't come, I can't, I have finals at UCLA. So
God, you're really dorking out. You're really nerding it up.
I was a nerd, but
Yeah.
And then after that, I just texted her. I'm like, the event was over. I'm like, do you want to go grab a drink just to get to know each other? I mean, we keep, just something like casual. I was trying to make it really,
right.
Chill. So, because I know she gets scared really easy. So she finally agreed, but then that turned into a 2:00 date to a 4:00 date to a 6. I'm like, okay, we're not canceling this date because she canceled like 16 times already. So she's like, okay, can you pick me up in 5 minutes? And I'm like, who can pick anybody up in LA in 5 minutes? But I said, yes, sure, I'll pick you up in 5 minutes. And then I just sent an Uber Black, to pick her up, the SUV, and it was there. Because those things come in like 2 minutes,
Right.
The Black. And it was there. And she's like, are you in that car? And I said, yes, I'm in that car. She's like, okay. She went over to the car. She's like, you're not in here. And I'm like, don't worry, it's bringing you to me. And I stayed with her on the phone, keep her calm the whole way.
That's kind of hot, though.
Yeah.
That is kind of nice. Like, I sent a car. It's very, like, Pretty Woman. Okay. Was that one of your favorite movies?
Yeah, I do like that movie, yeah.
Okay, so then it's on.
So then it was on, yeah. We finally met, and we had, like, an instant connection.
Yeah.
And and then when did you realize, like, wow, this is really nice, dating someone that not only I'm into, but that has nice things?
It was, I'm not used to, like, driving up to the Hollywood Hills. I think that was my first time in the Hollywood Hills, even.
Yeah.
And
I brought her to the Hollywood Hills.
Yeah.
She was like, because it was late as
Right.
well, and I brought her up to my house instead of meeting at a restaurant. Just because I have a little bar downstairs and we can just meet. And so it was, and it was nice. And it was like time just flew. We sat there. I actually didn't know what to expect. I didn't know who,
Right.
And it was really. I won't even get
And
there.
after the first date, did you go and tell your friends, like, oh my God, I went to this fancy house, the guy brought the car, and were they like, you're going to be murdered, or were they excited for you?
They were kind of just, like, they just focused on the fact that he was, like, this rich guy. So they kind of, like, focused on that. I don't know why.
In a positive way, or they were like, go for it, or were they a little, like, jealous and jealous, wait. Sorry, jealous and judgy.
They were kind of like, wow, how did you get this guy? He's really rich. So
Yeah.
I think that was kind of the reaction.
And then how much school did you have left when you guys started to date?
I had 1 quarter left.
But
so
she did it in 2.5 years.
Yeah.
It was normal people.
What
do
were you
4 years.
studying?
I was studying communications. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And she went into business econ first, and then you switched to that was on her resume, business econ UCLA. I'm like, that's pretty rare.
Now, did you go to college?
Yeah, I dropped out in my senior year.
Where did you go?
I went to 3 different ones. It was like I couldn't figure out didn't know what. My dad owned hotels. I'm like, you think when you're young, maybe I'll run one of those hotels or something like that. But then, I kept switching. I went from business to finance. I should have stayed in finance because I love finance. But then I ended up almost finishing with hotel administration.
So that's where your dad had the money. Like, is that where the money came from?
I think it's his grandfather, my grandfather. Okay. He's the guy. My grandfather started the publishing company. He worked his, it went from black and white to color. They tell me these stories about how switching from black and white to color was such a big deal. They almost went bankrupt. That was like back when.
You mean of like the newspapers and
stuff?
Yeah,
way back then. This has been around 70 years. So
right.
that was a big transition to go to color. And then my dad took it from being in one place to going all over the world and working with these different presidents and prime ministers of countries to help promote their country in a positive way. So, he would do positive press only, these beautiful hard copy, beautiful like books on Switzerland and Spain, and it was amazing. Like he would do these coffee table books that the president would hand out, or the mayor, whoever he was working with, to dignitaries, and and it was something that he did for decades, and each book made him millions of dollars. So he would just save it, and it was right when the peak of publishing, so everything was just that was all that was out there. There wasn't any of this high tech.
Yes, and there was there was no Instagram.
Yeah.
So I thought it was really interesting because in watching the show that your dad's really he has kind of a black heart as far as like romance goes. He's not exactly like hopeful to, because he's gotten married and divorced your mom. And it was interesting when you had the meeting with your mom on camera about what really happened. Like, he kind of wooed her off her feet. She was like the waitress at the hot nightclub. And so then how, because it's unusual back then that he would have custody of you guys. So it was you and your sister?
No, I mean, so they had this long legal battle, 10 years. My mom was hurt. He never apologized once in the relationship. He's one of those that, back then, those macho guys that just never is wrong. Like, he was like that. Just
Yeah.
So he made my mom, like, she said the prenup is what ruined the relationship. It just started a big thorn in her foot, and she was like, wait, what did I sign when she was like in her 20s? And then
Right, which would have been like the early 80s or something that she signed this, or
probably, yeah.
And so that was not a word we heard a lot back then.
Right.
And so so when they decided to break up, so that he made it very difficult for her to
He just magically after a while just put that on the table, and it was like so she had to like fight it for years, and it took her 10 years and a lot of money with lawyers and to just try to take a chunk out of it, and she got a chunk. It was in the papers in Colorado.
So in the end she got a decent settlement.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that decent, but she got it was in the papers as the highest support settlement in that area where she was living. So it was pretty good. She was okay. She still got, I even tell my dad today, she got screwed. I mean, that's not fair to treat people like that. But,
And was she the only woman that your dad had children with?
No, he's on his third wife right now.
Okay.
And
was your mom number one?
She was number two.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. and so how is it that you ended up living with your dad and not her?
We first were with her, and then I went with my dad just because I saw the pain he was going through, and I wanted to, be...
How old were you?
I was so young. I was like 14, maybe, around that.
Which is an age where you can kind of decide, where they're like, and sometimes people decide because it's the more lenient parent. Sometimes it's the same sex parent, and it's just, I get along better with my mom than my dad or whatever. But was she heartbroken by that?
I try not to think about it because I just, you don't think when you're that young.
And now being a parent, do you feel like...
Impossible decision.
Yes.
You just kind of like, I saw my parents were my parents loved us no matter what, but you can't choose. It's just I saw my brother and sister was with my mom, so I'm like, oh, it's only fair one of us go with my dad. So I
Is that really kind of the way you thought?
Yeah, it was like I was like in charge. I was 14 years old, in charge, my mom would come to me for advice. I'm 14, and I'd be like,
because you're the oldest.
I'm the oldest,
Uh-huh.
and I would have to like literally sit, but they put me in between their fights. I would sit in the middle, and they would be like, I had to be. I feel like I had to grow up really quick, to help them because they were like two children that would never just settle. Do
you ever remember it being peaceful and fun?
Honestly, no. Like, I grew up with, like, we were in a mansion in New Zealand, and I remember having the best birthday parties. I mean, my dad would go all out with magicians and clowns and everything, and then the whole school would come, and it was like the parents, and it would be like the party every year for my birthday. I'd be like, what are we doing today? Like, we having giraffes or something? It's just something like awesome. But that's really what I look forward to only. It was like my birthday. But other than that, there was no real love in the house. My mom was like the Stepford wife, That's how I felt. Like, she was in front of the kitchen. Like, my dad wanted that, the apron, the dishes and stuff. Even though there was a nanny and a cook and a maid and everything, he just wanted her having the dinner ready for when he came home. It was like, and he had everything. He just liked that old-fashioned lifestyle.
Where is your dad from? Like, what's his ethnic background?
He's Mexican.
Oh, okay. So with a very machismo or whatever,
and he's like that, there's only like 1% that's really, really wealthy there, and then there's not really a middle class, and then it's just like, so he lives in Miami now. He's been there for a while, and, I really love when we go visit Mexico, I mean, the food there is incredible, but other than that, it's like he gets that. I think my grandfather's super old school. Yeah. My dad's old school, and I don't know how I didn't get. I just, I grew up in Cali, so it's more, very different here.
Do you get along with your siblings?
Yeah, my brother and I were best friends. He was on Millionaire Matchmaker, and he was trying to find.
Oh, he was with Patty?
Yeah.
Oh my God. How did that come about?
He was trying to find love. He's a big romantic guy, but he came across not like how he wanted to come across on the show. So he had fun.
So he was the first person to experience a little taste of reality TV.
Yeah.
And so how did this opportunity come up, and why did you guys choose to do it?
They found me actually, and then I had to really convince Sean.
So what you got a DM or something?
Yeah, it was kind of like that.
And
yeah.
what'd they say?
They just saw our lifestyle, and they kind of they were coming out with this new show, and they needed like a real couple on the show because they had actually already started producing it. And I think they really didn't have a couple that was actually going to get married, so they needed.
Well, that was our thought, but we don't
Yeah.
know what
I don't know if that's real.
Right.
We don't know what was going on.
So.
Yeah.
So they approached you, and you were like, okay. Were you excited? I mean, are you a fan of reality TV? Is this the kind of show that you would be watching if you weren't on it?
I think I would check it out,
Yeah.
and see. And I think once you watch the first episode, you kind of become like sucked in.
Yeah.
So
So were you excited? Now, like, did you think this will be fun? I'll be on TV and people will approach me and maybe I'll get to be on Juicy Scoop one day. Is that something
That was my dream.
that you thought of when this
We
came
love it,
about?
Yeah.
When we got in it, I didn't know what we were expecting. It was like, it's been fun. I have to say, I took a break and we've just been traveling everywhere, and they're like, can I film you getting out of that Lamborghini you're in that I-8 over there? And it was just like they wanted everything, and I'm not used to that, like miking 24/7.
Oh, when you were filming it.
Yeah.
So when it came about, did you ask your brother, like, do you think I should do this, since you weren't
did.
happy with? And what did he say?
He's like, hell no.
Oh, you did? He said,
Yeah,
don't.
He's like, don't do it. And he thought it was similar to his experience.
Yeah.
And then when he started watching the show, he was like, oh, I should have, this is a great show. I mean, the budget was huge. I mean, it was like, you can tell that, Marrying Millions is like, I don't think the budget gets bigger. They were all, wherever we were filming, it was like a crew of 15 and all proper, flying everywhere. And they just watched our life and just filmed us how we live. My dad, I can't believe he acted like that on camera. I was like, can you just be a little nicer?
But he was being himself, I guess, right?
He was being himself, 100%. Even on the boat, we were on his boat.
Yeah.
Actually, he bought a bigger boat, by the way. The boat that we had was, we were looking at it. He was looking at it, but he has a bigger one. But the boat that we were on, there was this cute, like, hostess type of girl. And he was just like, he's married. He knows I'm getting married. And then he's like, check her out. That's how he is. He's like, look at the legs.
Did they include that part?
No, they didn't actually.
Oh, that's good.
I was like, he's mic'd, and I'm like,
oh my God.
The little things like that, he's just doesn't, he's from that generation, I guess. I shouldn't knock out all that generation because not everybody's like that.
Yes, but so, in your situation, you have a baby. So how long had you guys been dating when you found out you were pregnant?
Maybe 6 months?
Yeah, we were like, I wanted the baby, and then what do you think?
Were you trying to get pregnant, or just not trying hard not to?
Yeah. The
not trying
one.
that hard not to.
We were in love, so if it happened, then it happened.
It wasn't like after you had sex, you went to the bathroom and you came back and her legs were like up, and she was like,
I've heard
with
stories
like a pillow
that.
under her butt, just like, I'm supposed to stay like this for 22 minutes.
Oh my God.
I don't know if this is suspicious at all.
You're bad. It was, I didn't have that feeling with Megan. Like,
Right.
But yeah,
No,
those
I'm kidding,
those
right.
are everywhere, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got to be careful.
But did you
Protect
feel
yourself.
that? That's pretty young, though, to get pregnant, though. You were only what?
Yeah, I was pregnant on my 21st birthday, so I couldn't
21st?
drink. Yeah, but I think it makes you mature much more quicker to have a baby that young. And of course, your body bounces back like super quick. So I think if you're gonna have a baby, you should actually have a baby young.
If you find the right person, of course.
Right. If you're married to Sean or you're Kylie Jenner, then I think it's a great idea to have a baby at 20 or 21. For everybody else, you might want to wait. But,
yeah, I agree.
No,
Like,
I
it
think
changes your life.
Look, of course, I have kids. I think
Oh, how many?
there's great. I have 3, and I think,
Wow.
but I mean, I had them like in the most appropriate time, like early 30s.
Oh, nice.
Which I think is good too. I don't.
Yeah.
I know
That
some
is
people have them much later in life,
Right,
and I'm like,
40s.
oh, I wouldn't want to have a 2-year-old right now. Like I just went to Mastro's, and there was a 18-month-old that's just walking around. They do that, and the dad has to follow the baby, and it's just like, oh my god, it's like a drunk person. Like she's like stumbling, and she was so cute. But I'm like imagining what went down, why this couple decided that they really had to go to Mastro's on a Tuesday night, and they had to bring this baby, and they didn't have a sitter. Like all of that, I'm just like, oh, thank God those days are over. Like,
Yeah.
So it's nice when you can
I
afford to have
feel
help,
ya.
and you have like a grandma next door, like I did. Like, we did not bring the kids to Mastro's and like ruin everyone's night,
That's nice,
including
yeah.
our own. Okay, so you find out you're pregnant. Everyone's happy. Your parents are okay with it, or are they a little freaked out?
We waited, I think, a little bit to tell them, and then they were happy about it. But Sean's dad was like, that was a whole other.
Yeah. Well, your dad's like, where's the shotgun? He was just kidding,
Yeah.
though. He was
Yeah.
just- But my dad was very like not happy. We met him, and she was like just barely showing, and I was like, oh, Megan's pregnant, and then he's like, I can see. He walks away.
And then how was your mom about it?
She was like, oh, so loving and happy, gives Megan a big hug, knows
Yeah.
she's genuine, happy. My mom's the total opposite. My
Right.
dad's got a heart, but it's just different when it comes to women. It's just, he has a big trust problem. He thinks
Okay.
that, I'm like, do you have a prenup with your current wife? And he's like, of course I do. Like, he's like, when we started
Right.
dating, I had a prenup. Like, I was like,
So with your brother that did the Millionaire Matchmaker, is he still single?
He's still single, yes. And we were talking, and he really wants to find love like we have. So he's like, I really admire how you guys don't snip at each other, and like
Yeah.
we're all like, it's rare to find true love, and I wish it for everybody, and he wants that too. So he wants somebody to.
Have you
lean
ever
on
tried
him.
to set him up with any of your friends?
Have we?
Well, you said you are one of a kind.
Yeah.
That's like,
Aw.
you can't, there is.
I always think it's awkward though to set someone up, especially
Yeah.
someone as close as your brother-in-law, because it's like, okay, there's a chance that you're gonna fall in love and be married for 50 years. Anything short of that, essentially, was my fault. Like a breakup, a
Yeah.
divorce, like it's gonna be your
That's
fault that
true,
you brought
yeah.
them together, and then if it's really your good friend, and then they, he hurts her, then you might lose a friend. So I can see why that would be not the easiest thing to do.
I think now that I think about it, though, at the wedding, didn't we set him up with a few?
She had a lot of cute friends coming to the wedding, and all my cousins and they were all after them. It was kind of you'll see it.
So we
hopefully
see
they show that.
we see the wedding on the finale.
Well,
Because
yeah.
I know that you're
Yeah.
going towards the wedding, but the main storyline is that your dad wants you to have this prenup, and it's making you uncomfortable. Your mom said the prenup is what ruined it. So, do we know in the end? Do you sign the prenup, or can you not say?
We haven't told anybody, but we'll tell you some stuff. Like
Yeah.
we have, the wedding was incredible. We put
Where
it
did you end up having the wedding?
in Malibu.
Oh, okay.
In what's it called? Cypress Sea Cove.
Uh-huh.
And it was off the cliff. It was gorgeous. It wasn't available. It's where Denise Richards had her wedding.
Oh.
And they filmed there too for the Real Housewives, and we didn't find that out until we got there. And then
Yeah.
they were like, "Oh, we just did this." Like, and I was like, "Really?" And they told me about
Yeah.
it. But it's solid. It's sold out for years, and it's like, I'm like, "Can we?" And then someone had a cancellation, so we were able to
Oh, wow.
snag it. And then we put a full production together. It was a 6-digit huge, wedding, and I asked a friend of ours. Because, David Foster.
Yes.
And I was like,
That's your friend.
he's my friend. He's a great guy.
Do you like his new wife?
I love his new wife. We would listen to her music. Oh, we're like in love with it. Like, she is gorgeous. And he got us an American Idol star to sing at our wedding, which you have to
Oh,
watch.
okay.
And sing.
Awesome.
So and then he introduced us, and she sang. I've never heard. She hits notes like Whitney Houston. Anybody like that.
Yes.
So those
Well,
rare.
what's her name again? What is David Foster's new wife's name? That's right, Catherine McPhee. went to
Have you
Notre
heard
Dame
her?
High.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I remember when
Yeah.
she was on the show. Like that's when the height of American Idol was. So I
Yeah.
remember that.
With Andrea
And-
Bocelli. Well, so
Yes,
nice.
and then of course
Yeah.
I watched Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, so we saw David Foster with Yolanda and her lemon chicken, you know, and then but I also saw him when he was the dad of Princess of Malibu with Brody and Brandon Jenner and Linda Thompson. So he's, you know, he's their whole that whole family is great. Like it's like I can't believe the connections between everybody. And then you guys are friends with them too, so that's
Yeah,
pretty fun.
anybody that's friends with him, you're blessed. That guy is connected. I don't know anybody more connected than
Yeah.
David Foster. I mean, to get an American Idol star for us in 2 weeks, I mean, that was unbelievable. He was even like, "Who do you want?" And I was like, and then another friend of ours, Mohammed Hadid.
Mohammed.
Yeah, he was like,
Now, is he not with Shiva anymore?
I can't say,
Shiva.
but I don't think they're together.
No, I don't think they're
I mean,
together.
I'm surprised because they were such a nice couple. They were so beautiful.
Yes, because
Yeah.
I've hung out with them a few times, and Lisa Vanderpump.
Yeah.
And so when Shiva, is it Shiva or Shiva? I think it's Shiva.
Shiva, yeah.
When Shiva had the E show, Second Wives Club or something.
Oh yeah.
And so then, you know, I was like with Lisa Vanderpump, and Lisa Vanderpump's like, I want to do your podcast, but here, she's got a show. Go get her. So I was like, all right, come on, you know. And she was really sweet and great. So she told me the whole way they met which was very much, she could have been on Marrying Millions. Same type of thing. Like
Yeah.
you know, she was at a restaurant, and you know, and they
That
had
would've been
this
a
fun
great couple.
relationship.
Mhm.
But then, you know, we have everybody follows everyone on Instagram, and people started to notice and post things like, wait, what's up? She's not wearing a ring. She hasn't posted anything with Muhammad for a while. There was a scandal that he had, I don't know, been with someone else. So I didn't think they were together. So you're not breaking anything new. I just don't think she's officially announced it. I just think she's living her life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why do you have to? I mean, if
Right.
you're not
Yeah.
really getting divorced, why do you have to like say some big thing? Or maybe she's thinking they'll get back together.
Have you seen her ring? It's beautiful. Like her, you know.
The ring that when they were together, the
Yeah.
engagement ring?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was sitting across from me. I mean, she's
Can't
stunning.
miss it. Can't miss it.
Yeah. So you
It's
have the
good.
big
Mama
wedding.
has good taste.
Did you mind? Did you? I've been to weddings that are filmed for shows, and some of them you wouldn't. It just felt like there was just a camera crew that you would hire personally, and then other ones are like blaring lights. And was yours okay and still feeling intimate, even though you had the cameras there?
Well, we hired 2 different video productions, plus we had Lifetime's video productions.
Oh, okay.
So we had about like 30 camera people, I think. And
It
so
was
we
awesome.
just kind of ignored it because we've gotten used to it and
Yeah.
enjoyed the wedding.
They're
but-
so good too. Like wherever you turn, it's like they stay behind you. You don't even see them. So they're professionals. So they're
Yeah.
like they're like right in your you don't notice.
How
Yeah.
long did it take you to get used to that?
I think after like the first 2 times, then I was used to it. But
I'm still not used to it. It's
Yeah.
pretty. It's like you know. Oh wait, I'm mic'd. I'm not supposed to talk like that.
Yeah.
you gotta
So,
watch what you say when you're
yeah.
mic'd,
Yeah. Do you ever feel badly for the cameraman that's carrying a heavy camera and you feel like you're being kind of boring? Because
Oh my
I've
gosh, yeah.
been in that situation where I'm like a guest at something and I'm like, I don't think I can take this kind of guilt. Like if I'm not, because I'm not a reality star. So if anyone's filming me, it's always because I have to be funny and give it. And then there's other times where I've been like a guest at a reality thing and we're just talking and all of a sudden the guy just turns around and leaves and you're like, oh, sorry. Guess it wasn't that great. Like it's just so embarrassing.
Yeah, I just feel bad for those guys because they're like, oh, my back, like, you know.
Yeah.
So that job is really tough.
You always give them waters though. She's always
I
got.
told
Here, let
them
me
to
get
do
you one.
yoga.
Yeah.
Because she got certified. She wanted to be a yoga teacher. So she, you know, I'm like, okay, I did a little research. I'm like, the best place in the world to become a yoga teacher is in Bali. So let's fly to Bali for a month, take some time
God,
off.
how nice.
So she like went to the yoga barn and was there. You've been there. It's amazing.
Oh, you have? Oh.
Every day she'd go there for like 8 hours, 9 hours. And I would drive her off on our drop her off on our little scooter, and amazing life there. I mean, it was. We had a gorgeous villa at the Hanging Gardens Hotel.
Yeah.
I mean, it has a double pool like this. One of the top 10 hotels in the world with their pool, and I'm sure you've seen it. Yeah, I mean that's like it was breathtaking. Monkeys saying good morning. It was just.
Did the monkeys ever try to steal anything?
Bananas. If you bring like a banana snack.
Oh, but they don't. But don't they sometimes like go in your purse and take your iPhone and stuff?
Yeah, but what is
What
it
they
called?
do,
The monkey forest. That's
Yeah,
where you
yeah.
have to be really careful
Because the babies loved you and they went on your ankles, remember? And the mom got all upset and tried to.
Oh,
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like the mom gets jealous?
yeah, she's like protective over the babies.
You're not supposed to touch the babies, they say,
Okay.
But, what do you do when they try to climb your leg?
Oh my God, it's so cool.
And they like mess with her hair. And I mean, Bali was beautiful. Right after Bali, we went, to Thailand and went down to I forget the area. Phuket. Yeah, Phuket.
Look at the Kellys over here, international chick.
Yeah, we went to Phuket, and then Thailand was amazing too. And then after Thailand, we went to Japan, and then we went.
This is all with the baby? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We have a nanny,
he
full-time
comes with
nanny.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a 24/7 nanny, which is really nice, from Germany. And
Yes.
then so Japan though, that was epic. Megan was like, I was always wanted to go to Japan, so I'm like, okay, let's fly to Japan before we go back. So we flew there from Thailand, and I mean, we saw these like monster shows, and what else did we see? I mean, it was like we took the bullet train down to Kyoto, and there's this place called Nara Park where there's like deer that come up to you. It's like heaven on earth. They're all wild deer, and monks are in charge of this area, so you can like, they're not afraid of humans, so like you
Wow.
can pet them and you get the most epic pictures. I'll show you some later.
Oh my God. Okay, so you have the great wedding. Now, are we going to see that this week? What night are
Wednesday.
we going to see that?
Wednesday.
Tonight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tonight.
Okay.
Oh,
Since
tonight.
we're playing this time.
Wednesday.
So,
What is it, 10
okay,
p.m.?
good. So then you can. This won't air. So if you ever to tell me now, is that the finale or is there still more episodes?
That's the finale.
the finale of season 1.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, of season 1. And do they approached you to continue?
We don't know what the deal is with
Okay.
it. We've heard that there's going to be a season 2, but we don't know, like...
Yeah,
about
Lifetime met with us recently, and they were talking about some things, but nothing tentative. 100%.
Right.
Yeah, they yeah.
And let's go over some of the other couples. Okay, Bill and Breanna, the 60-year-old Texan and the 21-year-old Latina hostess.
Mm-hmm.
What is your opinion of them?
I think she's pretty and,
I think they're really funny together. They
Right.
have like, you can't get enough of the show. Like me, I started watching it. The show. I mean, I've been watching every episode.
Right.
But I watch the couples, and I see them, and I just like love it that they got this dynamic. But it's like age doesn't matter, And it's so interesting how it just goes, and then they get a fight because she goes to the club, And
This
it's
is
like,
what I think. She likes it enough because I don't think she's really even had like other boyfriends.
yeah.
So I think she's like fine with him and boning him because it's like this is a fun life and he's fun and everything. But that is ridiculous.
yeah.
21 and 60 is ridiculous. And
Is that how old he is? 60?
yeah, he's 60, she's 21. So I'm like, who knows what will happen? But no, they're not going to be together when she's barely 40 and he's 80. That's not happening. Okay, Katie and Colton. Katie is the one who put way too many injectables in her face. She looks like she's 57, but she's only 37. She claims to have been on The Real Housewives of OC. I think she was in like a party scene at Heather Dubrow's. That's what I heard. She was married to some baseball player, which I did feel bad about her story. It's like the ex-baseball player, you think, you have this great life, and he's like, has addiction issues, and all that part was sad. So she falls in love with this guy that has like one of the worst man buns I've ever seen in my life. And not that cute, sorry. And he is friends with her daughter, or is it in a group friend with, like a friend. And they start dating, and that whole thing I'm very suspicious of.
Yeah. I mean, she seems really sweet, and maybe she's just having fun.
Like, I think, like, did it pop up online? Oh, there's a new show. Are you dating someone that's younger and doesn't have your kind of money? And, like, maybe she dated him or what? But it seemed like it was very, to me as a viewer and a connoisseur of reality TV, and it's, sometimes it's the people presenting themselves in a not truth, authentic light. Sometimes it's the producers pushing it. I didn't believe the relationship. And he was, I did say, I go, well, he was in foster care. And Kelly goes, who cares? I go, I don't know why that made me like, why that part was like so sad and like weird to me. And then he's just like, they think the parents that took him in and adopted him, they think that she's his, that he's her assistant, but then then he shows up and he's like, actually, we're dating. There was something really sad about the whole situation.
Yeah.
Her story made me sad, besides her hair being an awful, like, white instead of blonde. Okay. Then Brian. Gentile. Why does she talk like that about Gentile? Gentile. Like,
Wait,
what?
Oh, okay.
You know,
Yeah,
Gentile. What is her name?
I think it's Gentile.
Brian is living with his parents. He doesn't have a lot of money. He's not a bad-looking guy. He's with this cute girl. She's does well for Vegas, but it's not, I mean, just because you have like a small like grotto water slide in your pool, it's not, that's Vegas. Okay. It's not $15 million off the Sunset Strip. Okay. Whatever. She has more money than Brian does. And I'm guessing they don't work out because she's been posting photos with Colty.
I saw that.
From 90 Day Fiance.
I wonder how they linked up, though.
Well, they both live in Vegas.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if it was a social media thing or like, where they kind of met each other online and were like, let's give everyone like a little hoot. But I'm guessing that they no longer are together, the Gentile and Brian. But he has a very weird way of talking. Then we have Drew and Rosie, who are also like a real couple. But she did meet him on the Sugar Daddy site.
Yeah.
And
they're cute.
I thought it was
Yeah.
really sad. Well, like
Yeah.
the parents are that weird about it.
Yeah.
I would never in a billion years, like, tell my kid I'm not going to their wedding or I'm not going to support that
Yeah.
they're marrying someone. Like,
That was sad.
how? So you raise this girl for 22 years and you're just not going to see her because you don't like the guy that she's marrying? And it wasn't like he was like I mean, I understand. There's a whole other show called Love After Lockup. I understand not being thrilled if your daughter's dating a felon.
Right.
But like,
He's a felon?
no,
Oh.
I'm saying he's not a felon.
Okay.
And he's just some guy that's like divorced and
Yeah.
whatever. So they weren't like
Right.
thrilled about it. But that part I thought was sad. And then
Yeah.
there was, Sean and Katie. That was the juiciest part.
Yeah, that
So-
was a juicy one.
For the people that I have to educate on this show, there's this guy, Sean and Katie, and Sean's, I think, pretending to be a rapper, okay? There were a couple signs about this guy not being for sure. She goes to this, he's performing, he's DJing tonight, looked like there were about 12 people there. And then he takes a money gun, like shoots money in the crowd, but then her friend was like, like some of it was Monopoly money. And she's like, but I got a real dollar. And then
Really?
she goes, were you giving out, did you put, and he goes, well, God, it would have taken a lot of real dollars to fill the money gun. So, yeah, I put a couple of Monopoly dollars in there, too. Okay. But then their whole scenes are like going to Ferrari and, should we get this car for $160,000? And it's like, and she's like, we've been dating a year and I really hope that we can get married. And then he takes her out and she thinks she's going to get a diamond, but she gets like a gold tennis bracelet. And he goes, well, let's go to the jewelry store and size up your bracelet because it's too big. But the sad thing about making your bracelet smaller is that you're going to lose a couple diamonds. She's like, So they go to the jewelry store. All the camera people are there. And he goes, actually, let's look at some diamonds. So they start looking at diamonds. They're looking at one for $130,000. And he's like, well, at least I know what you like. And she's like, And then the jeweler's like, well, let me take your bracelet to fix it. And she takes it. And right in front of both of them, she goes, this is cubic zirconian, right?
I know.
And first I was like, I still don't know if she's in on it. Like, if she knew he wasn't that rich. Or did she not know, did she suspect he wasn't that rich but still thought the bracelet was real? And, because, I guess a bracelet like that you could maybe get for like 10 grand or something. Huh?
You saw Jason, he's the executive producer. They had him on
Yes.
air too. So it had to have been real because he
Oh,
was.
that part. No, I believe
Oh.
all of this was real.
Yeah.
I'm saying,
Yeah.
did his girlfriend know
Oh, good point.
that
Yeah.
the bracelet wasn't real and that he
Hmm.
really wasn't as wealthy as he portrayed himself to the producers? I think he absolutely portrayed himself to be rich to the producers, and that's why they chose him. And then I think they were kind of like, okay, what the fuck, you know? And then he was so embarrassed. He's like, took off the mic and he just said, you know, I'm not filming anymore. And then they wrote that he didn't ever show up again.
Yeah.
My mom watched that multiple times, that episode.
Yeah. And what did she think?
She was floored. She was just like she just, I couldn't get a hold of her. She just kept watching it over and over.
I didn't, the whole time I didn't think he was really rich.
Yeah, you knew that.
I
There's
could
a-
tell just the way he was talking and like, you know, going to these, you know, it's just like, do you own a home or not? Okay,
That whole-
girls.
That whole
Yeah.
episode,
Yeah.
I think that has a lot of juicy, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there can only be one real Sean, I think.
Yeah.
There's two on the show.
Oh, it's your name Sean too, but he spells it
It's
different.
Different, yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
no, it felt cheesy. It felt like, well, even when you see like rappers or whatever like that, you know, they have the big leased car and the diamonds and all that, but they like live in an apartment. And you're like, all right, so really, you know, the fact that you're looking at $100,000 car or whatever, who cares? Like, you put Monopoly money in the one. I mean, what do you? And I mean, and I feel
I
like
can
he
tell
was a
you love
fake
that episode.
performer. Like it was just that was just a way to like somehow be seen. And then when he realized, oh shit, I don't even know where to begin to try to explain this. I just want this to like go away quickly.
Yeah.
I heard
So-
it was one of the highest rated shows on Lifetime, if not the highest, one of the highest
The
they've ever
episode
had.
or your whole series?
The whole series.
Oh, that's
That's
great.
what I heard from Lifetime. So they were like, it's one of the highest rated shows I've ever had.
Yeah.
I mean, things like that, you can't. I mean,
Right.
people are just like, and we get crazy hate text messages.
What's there to hate about you guys? You're the only.
They're
Oh
like,
my
oh,
gosh.
you're so this stupid because you didn't make her do a prenup.
Oh, so in the end, you
Like-
don't sign a prenup. Well, we're not.
I think,
We'll,
yeah.
we'll
Yeah,
know
she
we'll
doesn't-
know next week, right?
I
'Cause
don't sign it.
Oh, you don't sign it.
Yeah.
Okay.
She doesn't sign it, no. She doesn't sign it. But the thing is, we aren't in this to end it somewhere. You know, like life goes really quick. We're all gonna get. I mean, we get old quick. I want a Malibu house on the beach. Just, you know, a couple
Yeah.
rocking chairs. Her and I, some friends. You gus come. You know. we'll-
Yeah, invite us.
Well, you know, I'm not really looking to have a crazy 3-4 type of marriages like I mean, each of their own. Everybody's different. You don't get lucky right off the bat. Like,
Right.
I feel like I did. Like my poor dad, he didn't have it as easy as I did. I feel like I grew up in a lot of money, like with my dad, and he put me in the best schools, and he put me, you know, I think I had a
And
really.
when growing up with all that, you know, wealth and being around all the wealthy kids, like, did you know it? Like, because I always feel like,
I didn't.
you know,
Yeah.
people sometimes don't, whether you're poor or rich, sometimes you don't,
I had
as a kid, know that you aren't living the greatest life ever. You know, like, I mean, I lived a nice life. We always had a nice home and everything, but not till I got to USC. And they're like, "But where are your other houses?" And I'm like, "We just have the one." Like, and I thought we were doing pretty great. I've got a pool. I have a
Yeah.
car.
Yeah.
Like, you know. So I always thought, oh, I didn't want for anything. You know, I wasn't saying, why can't we go to Europe this summer? And then when I was like, and then I never understood the 1% thing until I did spend time in the Hamptons one summer. And I was like, oh, this is what the 1% are like. This is what the trust fund kids are like. That are like, what European travel are you doing this summer? We're not. Like, what, like, oh, you know, and it's just, so I wonder when you come from that world, do you know that you literally are 1%? Or do you not? Or do you think
I
other
didn't
people
know.
are
My
living?
parents were really good at making me work still for my money.
Uh-huh.
Like they put a little allowance on the fridge if I
Okay.
did little chores around the house, like simple things like
Yeah.
pick up your books off the floor. Like
Yeah.
you get $5. So I would be like, okay, I'm gonna go get $5 because I want to go get my bag of candy or across the street.
Yeah.
That's all that I cared about. I didn't know the value of money at all because everything was provided there. All I
Yeah.
cared about was picking up my books and learning to get that $5 to go get my candy. I mean, I would think like that. So they did good, not to just here's unlimited money. Like I would have to earn it. So I think that was really important when you. And I actually talked to Muhammad about this, where he's like, because I said, how did you raise such great kids,
Right.
And he's like, because he had this $100 million mansion. I'm like, how are they not spoiled? They're workaholics, like Gigi and Bella, those girls, and Anwar. I mean, they just work and work and work and work and just keep going. And he said it's a little of both. You have to give them some, and you don't give them everything. It's like you have to keep this fine balance.
Right.
Like some thing to be hungry for, but then can't give it all to them. It's like, I can relate to that because that's how my parents brought me up too. But
right. And I think Yolanda, you saw that on the show.
Yeah.
That she came from more humble beginnings, and then, being an immigrant and, being strict about, like, she was strict with the girls, and you did see it, in the show. And I think that really helped their career too, though.
Totally.
Seeing them, the Real Houses of Beverly Hills absolutely launched their careers, but good for them. Then they got the opportunity and didn't waste it and weren't lazy about it, So I think that's the really important thing too, that you teach your kid that yes, you're going to be given these amazing opportunities, but don't think that they're going to be here next year,
right?
Or don't think that they're always going to be around, because eventually, then if you don't have a purpose, then that is really sad. That's when you become like a rich drug addict.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There are the two different ones, Those are the you either go that way or this way. Yeah, it just depends how you. But Megan and I, we get in the only arguments we've ever had is either when I'm hungry, because she's like, "Did you eat?" Very little arguments there. But or the other thing is like when we go on vacation, because she's not used to spending that kind of money, so that's like really the only, because she's.
What do you mean? Like it's just weird? Is it weird like to order too much food and when you only want one bite of an onion ring, like you can't order the whole thing of onion rings?
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
literally, I just was at Mastro's last night, for my friend's birthday, and it was a dad and his son. It was clearly like they're in Malibu, and it's clearly like it's his night with his 14-year-old kid, and it's just awkward. But he's like, "Well, I want a good steak, so I'm taking to Mastro's," and I'm looking at what they ordered, and like they ordered the onion rings, these big things of onion rings, but they're like, maybe they had one. And I'm just like, to me still, that's like, I cannot waste the food. Like, I took a doggy bag home from Mastro's.
That's how I am, too.
I can't
Always
not.
take it to go. Yeah.
And I do tell myself sometimes, like, Heather, who cares? Like, you can do this now. But when you've been raised in a way of that, you can't get it out of your head.
I know.
Yeah.
That's how, if he has some food left over, I'll be like, okay, let's save it for dinner. But then he'll be like, no, we don't,
It's just like, it's going to go in the trash. Yeah. But because we eat out every single day. Like, it's just that we sometimes try to eat at home. But it just, like, it ends up being, for us, the same price. Because we buy all organic. We go to Whole Foods. It's like, you leave, it's like $200. I'm like, what did we even buy? And we go home, it's like a little bit. So
just to pretend that you're cooking.
Yeah, just to pretend.
Who cares?
Exactly. And then we go to a restaurants cheaper. I'm like, let's just go to restaurants. But we want to get there. I mean, the nanny does a really good job at preparing food for SJ for his schools and things like that.
Yeah.
To save money.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, go ahead.
We like things like big. Her dad saw her traveling, so he's like, "Can I join your traveling?" So he like flew out to Japan. Well, he ended up starting with Bali. When we were in Japan, we were staying in Kyoto at the Ritz-Carlton there, and we had a dinner. And this is like, for example, the dinner was a Michelin star, place, and he only has like 4 people that he serves, this chef.
Okay.
And it was tempura, and it was amazing. And then, you don't really look at the bill because it's ridiculous. Like,
right.
But the experience is like, that's what I like. I like
right.
experiences. And Megan's just like, look kind of like, hey, that was really expensive. Did we really need that? And I'm like, but did you have a great experience? We're not going to do it every day, but that's what we try. I try to get her on that page because you live once, if you can have fun. I mean, just when you're older, in your 80s, and you're just like looking back at all those cool experiences. I don't want to be like, I should have done this, should have done that. I don't want to have any regrets, So I try to do as much experiences as possible. And that's what we do. I mean, we were vegan, by the way. So that chef had to create. He's not a vegan, but he had to create a special vegan menu for us for this tempura. And it was the best. It was unbelievable. And he, I mean, the bill was like crazy. I mean, it was insane.
Do you guys drink?
We like to drink, yeah.
A little bit, yeah, not that much.
I mean, it depends if it's a Saturday night.
Yeah. But I mean, are you like that where you spend $1,000 on a bottle of Cabernet?
I mean, definitely. Like I have like, there's certain bottles like, you know, I really like those experiences too. Like, you know, if you can get a good bottle of Feet or, you know, like something special that's old, or like a Petrus, you know, or something that's really old, like from the 80s, you know, 90s, like, you know, that's an experience too, definitely. Like I like to pour that and just, you know, let it. I don't really. I butchered on the show. I'm happy they didn't show that. I was opening up a really expensive bottle of wine on the show.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't get the top off. I was just like, what am I doing wrong? Because it was like I just butchered it, and then, you know, luckily they didn't show that.
Oh, okay.
but finally when we got it off, it was like we shared it with everybody, and they're like, oh my god, it was the best wine ever. But what? Yeah, I mean, right?
Yeah, I think Sean just loves like experiences that nobody else has really done or is going to do. So that's what makes our life so fun, is that we have all these like lists of experiences that we've done, and you don't really remember like how much they cost. You just remember like how good
And I mean, are
time
you
had.
aware of the money? Like, are you set for life? Are your kids set for life? Is there really no budget ever, or is there a budget?
Of course there's budgets.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't want to, like, we're not stupid, but like, I mean, we're not, but I do things right. Like if, you know, if the hotel's $1,000 a night or $1,500 a night, whatever. I mean, it's okay. It's not every day, you know,
Right.
or 5,000, you know, whatever it is. Like in Bali, that Hanging Gardens hotel, I mean, that was very expensive for Bali. I mean, you can get a beautiful 2-bedroom suite for $20 a night, you know, but that Hanging Gardens was 5,000 a night. So it, you know, we did just experiencing one of
Is that where you went, Kelly? Just kidding.
But it's unreal. Top 10 in the world pools, and it's just like that. We'll always remember. My kid was swimming in the pool, and you have the most beautiful pictures of the forest behind him, and him just like just loving life. And you know, they pull the big, like a plate like this full of breakfast fruits and things out to your room to you, and it just comes like that, and you're like, oh, kind of, you know, it's just the experience.
Yeah.
We gotta enjoy life. You can't just be, you know, even if it's just at home.
So when the
Go to the
opportunity
beach.
for the reality show came, is that the way you kind of saw it, as like, why not just have this experience? We may never get offered again.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, it was presented to us, so we just took the opportunity. Exactly.
Megan likes that too. She opens doors. She is not afraid. Like in New York, I mean, she's busy. She likes to stay busy all the time.
I mean, at this point, like, let's say a new show came up that was like Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, but with younger people. Is that something that you guys would go do that?
Oh yeah, definitely. We're open to.
So now you're
many different
hooked. Now you're hooked with it. When you guys go out to dinner, do people recognize you?
Yeah, we get quite a few like asking, "Oh, did you sign the prenup?" They want spoilers,
Yeah.
you know. But,
Tell them what happened the other day.
The other day we were on a walk, and this car just like comes to a halt and starts backing up, and I thought they were gonna hit us. And there was this Indian guy in the car, and he was like, "Oh my God, are you Sean from Marrying Millions?" or something like that. And I had a heart attack because I thought he was gonna hit us. But
And then it was the very nice guy. They were really sweet, the whole group in there. But then they were like, "Did she sign a prenup? And why are you walking down the mountain? You know, like, and like, you know, it's Running Canyon. I mean, like, you're about to go into the entrance of Running Canyon."
Yeah.
And he's like, everybody's like walking in that direction,
Right.
and it's just he. And then another time we were just walking on the pier. You know, really nice people. Just everybody. I didn't realize that many people watch the show, but it's. And Megan was at the fair and somewhere near San Diego, and you know, yeah, it's almost like it's really flattering.
And you know,
It's nice.
that's what's always so interesting, because when people go say, "I met so and so and they couldn't have been nicer," I'm like, because they're reality stars, you can approach them. They're playing themselves. It's new. Not everybody knows who they are. It's not like they're Julia Roberts
Right.
walking around. So I always tell my listeners and stuff, I'm like, as long as you're not like interrupting them as they're like in intense conversation or fighting, which you wouldn't do with anyone, you can probably approach them and be like, "Love the show. Can I get a photo?"
definitely, yeah.
And then when they start getting jaded after a few years, then they look like real assholes. Because they're like, "Where were you 4 years ago? What do you mean I can't have a photo, you know,
Yeah.
with the busboy from Vanderpump? Like, come on." Well, you guys have been fun. I'm really glad you got to come, and
Thanks
I
for
will
inviting
go to
us.
your place in Malibu and have the $100 bottle or $1,000 bottle of
No,
wine.
our new house is in the Hollywood Hills at Running Canyon. You got to check that out. We have,
Oh, okay.
yeah, what's her name? Camilla and Roberto are the star architects and design. He designed the Porsche boat. So, and Camilla's she's one of a top 10 architects, and she's designing our pool and figuring you got to see this house. I just wanted to give them a little shout out because they're working really hard.
Oh, that's
I'll
awesome.
show you before and after. You'll see. I mean, all the money we're pumping into that. But we'll put a
Well, I'm
warming.
sure like that's a whole show of like
That's what our
redoing a
PR
house
said.
or something, or following those designers and having you guys be one of the people or going to the next project. Like people love that too. It's like it's real estate porn.
Yeah.
It's like
Oh,
you don't
yeah,
really
that'd be
care
good.
so much about like we sold the show, we sold it. Like I'm always like, just show me the pretty infinity pool. Like I don't really care about the players and that they're having a baby or whatever. You're like more into the porn, but then the porn of the real estate. But that would be fun to watch too. Well, you guys have been
thanks.
great. Congratulations. Let me see your ring.
Oh, it's at Tiffany's right now. We bought it at. That was another thing.
Because it was cubic zirconian. Sean,
No.
what happened?
I spent months finding, actually, 4 months finding that ring. And eventually I just, diamonds are one of those things that you just get so, what's the right word?
Obsessive?
It's obsessive. Like I know all about the quality and everything, and it's just, but I think they're just so they just get you. It's like, which is why is this little thing so expensive? You just kind of are like.
So you got it at Tiffany's?
I got it at Tiffany's. Yeah.
And what shape is it?
It is a emerald cut, and it's the famous Tiffany one with the halo around it.
Oh yeah.
And it's made of platinum, and it's beautiful. It's like she loves it, but we're getting it. We're working in the house, and we're like, we're there a lot, so we just she wears it for special occasions, but she likes to wear it all the time.
My friend is obsessed with Tiffany's, and they are very wealthy too, and so the Tiffany people fly them out to things. I've gone to fancy Tiffany's dinners. I've gone to the store where we go in the back and they put on the black gloves and we just
I did that,
look at
yeah.
loose jewels. And then I put on all of her diamonds, and I just when I go to visit, before I go
Oh,
do
that's
stand up, I
awesome.
go, okay, let me see the baby, we call them the baby, and then some jewels identify as female, some as male, whatever she calls them. It's so crazy to me, but I kind of love that when you are that blessed, that you have fun with it and you wear it and you like it and you don't apologize for it. You're still a good person. You're still doing your charity, but don't hide the fact that you can shop at Tiffany's and buy more than the little heart bracelet.
I feel bad because it's you wear it everywhere, and it's always bigger, and I don't know, maybe I should have got it. It's perfect for her hand. It's perfect. It's not too big. It's not too small. We're not trying to be oh, look at this. It's just perfect. We love it.
I wish you would have brought it.
We'll send you.
I think they show it on the show.
Yeah, they do show it on the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, you guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
So yeah, if you make sure everybody, if you haven't been watching Marrying Millions, I'm sure you can catch it on their apps and whatnot and catch up, because it was pretty fun to watch. Or at least
Instagram.
follow and follow them on Instagram. Follow everyone. How do they find you on Instagram?
Sean Lourdes and Meg Girl. So
Meg Girl.
yeah.
Double G, double L.
Okay, cool. Thanks.